Hey, what's up, Wayne? This is Nelson from Verizon on LV John Facebook, the Facebook group, I guess the VC Box group. So, to access the router settings, you would type in this web page. You want to type it in the address bar. Do not do a Google search or a Bing search or whatever search you use, search engine you use. Type it in the address bar up at the top of the browser because that will take you directly to the page. So, it's that mynetworksettings.com. So you would type that in. You don't have to type in the other stuff unless you want to. And then it will bring you to this screen. And this is the login. So I typed it in already because I don't want to give out my password to my router, even though you technically couldn't connect to it anyway because you would have to be connected to the router to access this page. But anyway, I digress from that. So on the back of the router, they have a picture of the router here. I'm going to try to zoom in and give you that information. So if you see the second, I know it's grainy because I'm doing it from my phone and it's pointing to a monitor. That second to last option that's darkened, that's network settings password, and you'll see the password to the right of that. You would type the password that's on your router over here into this box. I'm gonna zoom back out. So then you're gonna see some of my information, but I'm not really worried about that. I got multiple firewalls. So let me zoom out some more. So I'm gonna hit login. Man, let me zoom out some more. I'll come close for you to see what I'm doing. So this is the router interface, the router GUI, the interface page, the user interface page. So one thing I like to do here is, let me find my mouse because I'm using the phone to look at it. So I go to Wi-Fi, but then I would, instead of being on basic, I would go to advanced. That's going to bring up more options under Wi-Fi. So you would click on primary network. That's the first option. The first thing, in my opinion, you don't have to do this. This is my opinion, and I tell customers and people I would do stuff for this self-organizing network. The Sun, Verizon loves acronyms. I would disable that. Because what that is doing is letting the router manage the Wi-Fi network. And what essentially that will do is bring that files, my Wi-Fi name for the 2.4 band and the Wi-Fi name for the 5G band. It will make them essentially just be one instead of two separate ones, which I don't like that because the devices 2.4 is stronger, but it's slower. 5G is weaker, is signal, but it's faster. I connect mostly all my devices to 5G except for devices that are not 5G capable because it's better. Plus, I have an extender, a Fios extender in my house. So if you disable that Sun self-organizing network, then you can have two, and you won't have that issue. That's one thing that will help with Wi-Fi. The second thing that will help with Wi-Fi, and this is important, you would go over here, back over here to radio management. By default, this router is set, and a lot of routers are actually set to channel auto. So if you come down here, you'll see mine is not set to auto. My 2.4 band, where's my mouse at? Oh, here it is. It's set to channel 6. So by default, you'll see it'll be on auto. You don't want that because in that the router is managing the broadcast channel for the router. On 2.4 band, you only want to use channel 1, channel 6, and channel 11. The ends of the spectrum in the middle. Because if you were to choose channel 4, the broadcast would loop over these channels. And then you would get interference from 5, 6, 7. And so on and so forth. If you chose 9, it will interfere like that, back that way. These 6 doesn't interfere, 1 doesn't interfere, and 11 doesn't interfere. So those are only 3 options. Now on the 5G band, I use channel 36, and I also use channel 157. Those are my go-tos, but you can also use like channel 149. Some routers have channel 44. You can use that. But I like 36 to 157. My extender's on 157. My router's on channel 36. So now you have those set up. So that's good. So that right there. And then on 5G, you do not want to use any channels between channel 116 and 132 because Doppler radar uses that for weather broadcasts. To find, to check out weather patterns and stuff. So that could interfere on 5G. So don't use anything between 116 and 132. I think Verizon actually removed that. Let me look. I think they removed it on the old gate, the quantum router. Yeah, they removed it. You had those channels in here, so you see it went from channel 48 all the way to channel 149. But there used to be other channels in between in here, but they removed it, so you can't on this router. You can't select that option no way. So okay, that's just the Wi-Fi part. So now we're gonna go back to home. And you also, I think it will give you, you have to hit apply changes when you do everything here too. Make sure you hit that. If you don't hit it, it's not going to save it. And also, I think you could do it from the app though. I'll tell you about that later. So now we want to go back to home. And I had to do this because I don't remember all the time when I do this crap. So let's see, network. I hope I didn't forget this darn fast. So, okay. So this is for the DNS server. Verizon has their own DNS server by default. We don't want to use it. You could choose different ones. I just use the Google's DNS servers. So you want to come down to network connections. So now when you come to network connections, let me see which one we could. The broadband connection, internet. I'm pretty sure that's it. If not, I'll go back and show it to you. So it'll bring you to this page. So now we're going to go down. So this is just showing you all the stuff that you had, the different connections. See, as you can see, my DNS is not the Verizon. Well, I forget what their DNS is, but that's Google's DNS. If you go on Google and Google DNS, and that's what's going to come up, 8.8.8.8. And then their secondary one is 8.8.4.4. So those are going to be the addresses you're going to type in when we get to that page. So hopefully it will be down here. So I'm going to go all the way to the bottom and hit settings. So hopefully this should be on this page. Let me back out a little. Let me come down. Yes, there it is. I was searching. So see in here, this is where you would make the change. IP version 4, DNS address 1, IP version 4, DNS address 2. So you could change whatever's in there and make version, address 1 8.8.8.8, and then the second one 8.8.4.4. Then you would come here and hit apply. And that would change the DNS. You would be using Google's DNS, that stands for domain name server. So all IP addresses, I won't get too lengthy. All IP addresses use numbers. Even if you go to like Amazon.com, technically it's not Amazon.com. So if you knew what the actual IP address is, you didn't have to type Amazon.com. You could type in something like 10.68.234.9, and that would take you to Amazon.com if that was their IP address. So what the domain name server does is it converts actual IP addresses into names like Amazon.com, Google.com for, because humans rather use words and letters than numbers. So that's what that does. And that also keeps you off of their network to some degree. They still can monitor what you're doing, but I find it to be faster so it doesn't throttle. They have other ones out there too that you could use, ones that actually have security features in it, like I think it's Cloudflare and other ones, but I just use the Google one. So make sure after you do all that, you hit apply, and then you apply that, and then that will change that. So as far as the I can't show you the app. In the app, there's a setting that has a security feature like McAfee protection or some crap. When you would go into the Files Home app, or I forget, they changed the app so much. It's an app that you would use to access the your internet service. You could use that, and I think you can even do it from the My Files app too. Oh, if you don't have My Files, it was probably another app. It's probably the Verizon Home app or something like that. Whatever app you use, you can go into your internet settings and you would disable that feature. I think some other posts people posted instructions how to do it in the app. I don't have the actual instructions to do that, but you definitely want to turn that off, because that could also be, because it could be detecting it as a threat, and it could be blocking the connection, or analyzing the connection, which is making it slow down. So turn that off in the app, and these things would definitely help, especially if you're connecting via Wi-Fi. And if you have any other devices on Wi-Fi, those Wi-Fi options that I showed you would also be a great detriment of something that you could do to help with Wi-Fi interference and things of that nature, so you have more stable Wi-Fi and you can get more bandwidth through your Wi-Fi connection. All right, Wayne, I'm going to send this to you. I hope they let me send you an 11-minute video, but to break it down, it's like real lengthy to really explain it to somebody. And for me to type all that, I just rather send you a video. But you'll have to just go through and pause where you see the options that you need. Because I know I got winded here, but I just like to be thorough. All right, buddy, I'll talk to you.